Hey guys, my name is Shaylee. Welcome back, or welcome to whatever you are to this channel. And today is going to be my wrap up for the month of August. I had a lot of fun this month. Most of these books are in a vlog or something on my channel already, so I will link those, and if you want like details of them more, you can go check that part out. I'm not going to get into much detail here, just there's a couple that I haven't talked about at all, and I'll talk about those, but everything else is just a quick overview, okay? So the very first things I read, I don't have anywhere on the channel. I listened to them both on audio. The first thing I listened to was Gloria O'Brien's History of the Future by A.S. King. And this was probably one of my most favorite A.S. Kings. If you're someone who doesn't know A.S. King, like anytime you hear about it, it's like, what? So they're about these two girls who are friends, and they both have some interesting circumstances they're living in and living through, and they somehow come about this petrified bat, and they make a tea. Is that what they do? I don't even remember. I just not gonna say. Anyways, they drink this bat, and it gives them the ability to basically, when they look at somebody in the face, they instantly like see their future, see what's going to happen to them in their lives. And it's, like I said, this one was probably my favorite A.S. King so far that I've ever read. It brought a lot to light about life and friendships and being a teen and the hard things that you do go through, and the wants and wishes and dreams that you have, and at that time feel so just overwhelmingly hard, and just the most important things, you know, as it is at that time of your life. And there's a lot of really sad things, a lot of hard things, a lot of fun things. Just I don't ever know how to talk about any book, but A.S. King is a really hard one to talk about. I would highly suggest this one to the more broader audience, I think. I don't know. I am not an A.S. King expert, nor will I ever claim to be. The next thing I listened to was All the Missing Girls by Megan Miranda, and this one was fine. Again, it's just kind of one of, I feel like, when did this come out? 2016, so yeah, like, you know, that time, this story, a lot of YA is this way. Let's see if I can even really remember. Oh, I forgot. This really isn't like, it's one of those stories that it's like, I guess you would classify it as YA, but it goes back in timelines when they're like an adult to when they're a teenager. So it does have some older stuff. It's like about, I don't know how to explain. It's basically, let me read the back, some of it, I'm not reading all of it. It says, it's been 10 years since Nicolette Farrell left Cooley Ridge, 10 years since she broke up with Tyler, the man she thought she'd marry, 10 years since her best friend Corinne disappeared, never to be heard from again. When the call comes that her father is ailing, Nick is living in Philadelphia, light years away from her younger self. She drops everything to care for her dad, but within days of her return, another girl goes missing, and Nick experiences a terrifying sense of deja vu. As Nick works to unravel what happened to the missing girls, shocking truths emerge about her neighbors, her family, and what really happened to Corinne that night 10 years ago. So now reading that and remember what this is, I actually did quite like this. I think I maybe gave it a 4. See, this is where it's hard for me with ratings, because it's like I literally read something and then I start reading something else and I'll forget about it, unless it was like a 5-star best thing ever. type of situation, you know? I feel like this is not a good angle and I could do better. So let's do better. But this was really good. There was some shocking things, some good, there's a lot of like whodunit and some suspense, and yeah, I actually really liked this. Now that I just remembered. So the back pretty much explains it all. It's the relationship between her friend Corinne and what they had, and who Corinne was and who she was to a lot of people, and then how it correlates to this other missing girl. And like it says, like, it's very much whodunit, and you go back and forth, and it was, the ending was interesting, not definitely what I thought was going to happen. It's an interesting choice. Yeah. If I convinced you, good for me. Alrighty, then next. These next three were all books that I did reading one of my friend's favorite books. So the first one I read was The Wife Upstairs by Rachel Hawkins. Loved. This was so much fun. I don't think this was like the most, I think I compared it to kind of in the sense of something like No Exit, where it's a little bit cheesy, quite unrealistic, but just a lot of fun. It wasn't as like dramatic. I would say this is a thriller, this is a mystery, so it wasn't like thrilling and exciting on the edge of your seat, but it was a lot of fun. I had so much fun reading this. I read this in about 2 days. It was a really good time. And then I think I gave that a 4. The next I did Anxious People by Fredrik Backman. This is my second Fredrik Backman. I did enjoy this one more than the first one I did, but I just don't think, well, I know that me and literary fiction just don't get along great. Something I want to say that I didn't say, well, because it hadn't happened yet, but I didn't crap on this book, but I didn't give this book high praises. It was good, but after now, I went and found Katie Colson on YouTube, and I've just like binge watched everything that she has ever put out. She's really great. And she at some point read this book, and in a vlog when she talked about it after she read it, like she just broke down in tears and was sobbing, and it like clicked with me that I don't understand the purpose of literary fiction and other books in this vein of like, there's the story, but then there's something deeper that you're supposed to get underneath it, and that's what the real story is, and that's where the real writing is, and like how beautiful it is. And I am just so surface level, did not get it at all. So after hearing her talk about it and the way that she described it and the things in it, I was like, oh my gosh, like, yeah, this was a great book. I'm not changing my rating of it. I'm still giving it a 3-star, but now as far as understanding that this is a book about how hard, like that saying of everybody is going through something and you just like, you don't know what that is, or like you don't know what someone else's heart is. Like everybody is dealing with something inside that they're not always telling you, and it's the book about everyone and their hard things and their anxieties and their worries and fears. And it is a very, if you can get that story and hear it, you will like this book so much more than I did, I am sure. Then lastly for that, I did The Woman in the Window by AJ Finn. This book was fine. I gave it a pretty, I honestly don't know if I probably gave like a 3.5 or something, but on Goodreads I don't know what I gave it, but it was a okay time. I think I watched the movie after, and I think that just kind of like made me feel like this wasn't as good, but the book was fine. Probably too long for what it needed to be, but yeah, I would suggest don't watch the movie. I mean, unless you want to. I did not find it very entertaining or do anything as far as the book, but I did enjoy my time reading this. Again, could have been shorter. It's just really hard when you're solely just like in the mind of one character. Maybe this is a sense of in the like the whole thing of an unreliable narrator that I did not jive with. So yeah, there you go. Then next we had, oh, the Thousand Doors Readathon. And I read 2 books for that. The first one being one of my new favorites of all time, which is Bird Box by Josh Malerman. I loved this book so much and immediately put Mallory onto my wish list. I can't wait to get my hands on it. I gave it 5 stars. Such a fun freaking read. I want to read more of Josh Malerman's book. I wanted to get my hands on the house, what's the Under the Lake one? House at the bottom, the house at the bottom of a lake. I really want to get that one. That one's also on my list of his stuff to get, but I just thought that this was very, very entertaining. I like apocalyptic, that type of storyline really is fun for me. And also, like, just a little side note, I love when, like, you get the title, like, you get what, like, I never thought about this. Like, it was just like, oh, it's called Bird Box. And then as I started reading it, I'm like, why the heck is this called Bird Box? Like, I don't understand that title. And then, like, when you figure it out, it's like, oh my gosh, like, how do the authors decide to name their books and stuff? Like, I just think that's so fun. So if you read it, you know, obviously, and I just think it's super fun. And also, like, this cover, like, why it was a telephone. Like, there's a lot of things looking at this, you're like, this is just odd and random and weird. But when you read it, it's like, oh, I get it. Then I did Into the Forest by Jean Hagelin. Did not enjoy this one. Was really sad about it. This was a weird ride for me. You'll have to watch the vlog but I don't even think I really explained myself well enough in that either, because I just didn't know how to explain this and how I was feeling. But it was very interesting. I liked it. I hated the first bit of it. I liked quite a bit the ending. And when it got more into, again, a kind of apocalyptic survival, then it got a little bit better. But it was interesting. At some point, I can't remember when this was, but I did read The Secret Garden. I didn't do it for anything. I listened to it because I was going to the play. I went to the play a couple nights ago with all of my sisters, and the play was worlds far beyond the book. I will tell you that. The book was so boring, so bland, lacking in any kind of depth, but I appreciate it, and the play was very, very good. And yes, so I don't regret it. I think that's my first classic ever. Lastly, I just finished, for the last week, I did the Buzzword Readathon as my last week of August, and the prompt was to pick up titles with the time of day, time of day in the title. So it was pretty wide, but I ended up having everything have nights in it. So the first thing that I did was 9 Days and 9 Nights by Katie Cotugno. This is the follow-up book to 99 Days. And I really enjoyed 99 Days. This, I think, was so stupid, totally unnecessary, not a good time, don't waste your time. I'm so sad because I fought really hard to find this really cute cover, and it's like peach, and I just love it, but I'm getting rid of this because, yeah, I think this was the dumbest thing ever. They could have condensed it and put it and changed the ending for 99 Days if she wanted to do it this way. Totally unnecessary. Next, I did another tough one, Night Film by Marsha Pessl. This is, I have not talked about it on this channel, but my goal before I started back on YouTube was I was trying to do one tome a month because I have quite a few of them and they're very daunting, and so this happened to be one of them. That worked out great, and I just am struggling. Again, watch the vlog to see my mental peril as I just can't decide what I think about this book. I think this is one of the most pretentious books I have ever read. Why in the world does it need to be so long, and then at the end you can still go in and use your phone to unlock even more audio and visuals and reading to go with it? It's like, what? I can understand why someone would love this, but it's just it feels like absolutely nothing happened. Like it felt like it was like a 2-day period and it took us 10 years to get through it. I felt like I was stuck in the hexagon box. If you've read the book, you know. I still have no idea. Basically, I haven't been giving in like anything to anybody. This one is about, it's like a mystery, I don't know, about this really creepy movie director. His daughter dies, and this reporter who was like obsessed with him becomes re-obsessed with him and is trying to figure out what is happening and trying to prove all of his past wrongings and the twistedness and just sanity's questioned, and it's a wild ride. And then lastly, I read this in like the last day of the month and I had a really fun time. I did My Favorite Half Night Stand by Christina Lauren. Sorry, I don't know why I said that so weird. And I also, again, talked about in the end of this vlog when I talked about this book. This book made me realize how much I'm struggling with trying to burn through my TBR as fast as I can and read as many books as I can by listening to books on 3 times speed, and what that does for my ratings and my opinions about books, because now books are starting to become something I just turn on in the background and they're just like a task to get done, and I'm not immersing myself in the reading experience, which is really what I want to do. Because with this book, I really think if I would have taken the time to read it, I probably would have given it a 4, which I did end up giving it because I really do think that's what it is. I love these characters so much. They're some of my favorite characters of all time. But when I just think back on the experience, it was like, oh yeah, that was fine. So I like thought I was going to give it a 3. You know what I mean? I'm having issues. I talked about it in that vlog, like I said, but that is a friends to lovers catfishing if you're not into that. Just a fun time. It was super fast. The audiobook was like 6 hours. It was just a really fun time. Like some just genuinely fun characters that I will likely never forget, hopefully. But so that's everything. So I read 2, 5, 8, 9, 10, 11 things in August. Just very good for me. On track to hit 50. Yeah, because I would have to read 10 a month to hit my goal of 50 from when I started in August. So I'm a little bit ahead of that goal, and we'll just keep trudging along with it. And yeah, how was your reading? Have you read any of these? Tell me how I should feel about Into the Forest and Night Film. Someone please help me. Okay. I hope wherever you are happy, healthy, and loved. I will see you guys on the next one. Bye!